Let's go. Yeah. For those of you that want to know what we're all about, it's like this, y'all. This is 10% luck, 20% skill, 15% concentrated power of will, 5% pleasure, 50% pain, and 100% reason to remember the name.
Welcome to another episode here at West Coast Dogman Project. I'm your host, Shane Michael Crisp, joined alongside my awesome co-host, Mr. Todd Metz, and we're glad to start part 2 of the UK series with none other than Jamie Atkinson. Jamie, welcome to the show, brother.
Thank you.
Hey, we're honored to have you. Todd, how you doing today, brother?
Doing well, guys. Doing well.
Good.
Awesome. Hey, Jamie, for the viewers that aren't too familiar with you, can you give us a little brief bio on yourself?
Yeah, basically I'm 31. I live over here in the UK. I started off first of all in the paranormal sector, investigating ghosts, UFOs, etc. And then 2018 I was at a paranormal conference over in Blackpool. And asking where I was from, so I said, well, I'm from Hull. And usually over here we get, well, where's that? First thing I got, first people I talked to was, oh, how's the werewolf problem? Which I'll get onto that in a bit, so it links into my second encounter.
Mm-hmm.
So that night I was talking to one of the speakers, and he was like, look, they're all over the place, looking to Dogman encounters. So I did. And it turned my world upside down because it links into my first encounter. And 2019, I think, no, 20-something over, about 2 years back, I launched my own YouTube channel, Expedition Dogman, which also links into the second encounter I had, was when we went looking for the Beast of Anston Dread, which over in Hull is the local Dogman. I don't like calling them werewolves, because to me werewolves don't exist. To me there's no such thing. And then that links into my channel was what I did werewolves and not what you think, about how Hollywood created the image of werewolves and named them, because you've got something called clinical lycanthropy, where people believe they change into a werewolf. And then I think it was 1935, Hollywood released American Werewolf in London, the original version, and that's where we get the common term for werewolf from. So yeah, that's a brief history of myself and what I believe Dogman to be.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. I think there's different theories on, whether people believe in werewolves or dogmen or shapeshifters and stuff like that. I mean, it's kind of a toss-up. I mean, is it folklore or is it a curse or is there something paranormal about it? So, I mean, and that's a good theory. I mean, some people just don't believe in the werewolf lore, and I that's something I'm open-minded to. So, and if that's your viewpoint on it, hey, there's no one faulting you for it. That's what this whole thing's on. It's all this whole phenomenon's theory-based.
It is definitely, because with the mentality of the human race, not just with America but all over, we're still in that mentality of shoot first, ask questions later.
Mm-hmm.
So if our brain sees something we can't comprehend, we're more than likely, due to what we're being told about them, going to go and put bullets into them rather than standing back and observing.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with what Todd was saying before we came on about them being apex predators. They're more likely to take a bite out of us rather than letting us observe. But my first encounter, funnily enough, was back when I was 19 years old. I was staying at my grandparents' house on Anlaby Road. Well, just off Anlaby Road. And a bit to the south of that, you've got the River Humber. The Humber Bridge in Little Switzerland, which is also known as the Humber Bridge Country Park. So the back of where my grandparents live, you've got what we call Dog Park, which in England is a green belt. It's common land, you can't build on it. And it was 1 o'clock in the morning, the blinds were shut. I finished reading a book, which funny enough was a horror book, and I was watching the light out. For some reason, I immediately looked up the window, and I saw the shadow of a 7-foot creature walking, could see the head of a wolf, human-like body, claws that were curving them, just quickly walking by the window. Now, the brain goes into fight or flight mode. I went into flight. I thought, shit, what the fuck was that? Didn't think anything of it. I wish I was brave enough back then to go and take a photo, but it scared the crap out of me and I just buried it. And this links back to what I was saying in the introduction. It got brought up again when I was at the paranormal conference, when I was on the way home listening to Dogman Encounters. My brain just flipped. It's just think, shit, that's what I saw. It was the Dogman. So I talked to Vic Cundiff about it, and he was like, well, is there any wooded areas near you? I was like, well, yeah, because the green belt is all wooded. And it was heading down towards the River Humber. You've got an old quarry down there, which, through what I've researched into the Dogman phenomena, they love quarries for some reason. So I think it was just passing by, personally. I think it was just heading for a water source. And recently I've been doing some more digging into the local area. And in the River Humber, you've got a place known as Reed Island, which is now sunken. And there used to be a werewolf that lived on there. So I'm still wondering to this day, is it the werewolf that was on Reed Island is relocated into the country park and was just walking around Hull? Because from what I understand and from what I've witnessed, these things don't just live in the countryside.
It's interesting.
Yeah, you can see them in the cities, so I'm just wondering whether it was just passing by from point A to point B. And
Jamie,
go on.
Yeah, Jamie, how far away from the from this creature were you? And explain to us what the greenway is.
The green belt is basically common land. It's basically common land. You can't build upon it.
Okay, so it's protected land.
Yeah, it's basically protected land. And every city in this country has it. So I think it was just coming from that area, from hunting, going back towards the quarry.
Is there water in the quarry, or is it a dry quarry?
Well, it's a dry quarry, but you've got the River Humber just outside.
How far away would you say the river is from that particular area?
From the quarry, it's literally, you've got Little Switzerland, you've got like a pathway, a stony beach down to the river. That's it. So it's literally, a few hundred meters outside of the quarry.
Okay, so it's pretty close.
Yeah.
What time of the day was this? Did you see this in dusk, in evening?
It was 1 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
Oh.
Wow.
Perfect timing.
Yeah. Full moon, probably, right?
No, that's the thing. That's the thing, funnily enough. There was no full moon.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't believe the fame that they appeared just on the full moon.
Yeah, I was just curious because we had talked with one of your mates out there, and he had a sighting, and he said the moon was full, so he was able to really get a good look at it. But obviously, he doesn't think it's a werewolf, but he thought, boy, the moon was so bright, I could see a lot of detail and stuff. So I was just wondering.
Well, unfortunately, I've never physically seen a Dogman. I've heard one growl when I've seen the shadow of one.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't say I've physically seen the eye fly. I'm still trying to encounter one so I can get photos of it, but it's proving very difficult. Because
real quick, Dogman UK man wanted to ask, where did this happen in the UK? Can you give us the location, or is that something you'd rather keep confidential?
It was Kingston upon Hull, which is in East Yorkshire.
Mm-hmm.
It's technically northeast, but we have counties over here, like the States, and our county is East Yorkshire. So, yeah, and then you've got Beverly just outside where my second encounter happened, which is to do with the Beast of Addison Game.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll move on to that one, because I think the Island Link, I think there's a clan in the northeast, and they started spreading out, but yeah. My second encounter, what's it called? My second encounter was, what, 2000, 2023 now, would have been 2021. I've been looking into the beast of Bamston James for quite a few years, and never got brave enough to go looking for them. And I did go onto my YouTube channel, and I thought, right,
Hey, Jamie, let me jump in there. Can you readjust are you on your phone?
I am, yes, because it would have taken too long.
When you change position like you were, the audio, we had trouble hearing you. So maybe a straight on would be a little bit better for us to hear you. Yeah, that's a lot better.
Yeah, so I'll go back a bit. I launched my YouTube channel in 2021, and we've been watching Expedition Bigfoot, me and my friends, so we thought, right, why not go try and find the beast of Bamston Drain and see if we can get through from to what it is. So we went down to Bamston Drain, we managed to pinpoint where people had been seeing it, because it had been spotted eating German shepherds, vaulting the drain, and causing a nuisance of itself back in 2016. So we went down there, we started playing house, so we thought, right, we'll go the Expedition Bigfoot route round it, and just see what we get. So we found a footprint to begin with. We found what looked like an nest, because I honestly believe that Dogmen nest in the same way that Bigfoot do. The fact that they can bend trees over, and as we all know, Dogmen will live in trees. They can camouflage themselves. So we found what looks like a nest, and we was just stood there filming the nest, showing where the exit points were, and all we had coming from down right there, the drain was a growl. Clear as day. And in the field, just behind the drain, there was horses in that field, funnily enough. And the horses started to spook. Now, as Finn knows, horses don't spook for no reason. It takes a lot for a horse to spook. Birds can cause it, etc. But in terms of a growl, I think it was the dogman that was there was just telling us, well, Becca, you're in my space. You're entering my nest, I'm going to warn you off now. Mm-hmm. And then all we started to hear was thud, thud, thud. So we continued out towards where there was open land. And so the horses coming off the field they was on, there's like a bridge type thing over the drain, stampeding across it to try and block it off. And horses don't spook for no reason, so it makes you wonder what was there. So obviously we took the footage home. I sent it off to a guy called Lieutenant over in America, because he's got software that can strip away the filters that Dogman like to use. And there it was set up in the tree. It's as though he'd been watching us the whole time.
Wow.
Which is very strange.
Mm-hmm. How many people were with you on this one, Jamie? You said a couple of buds of yours?
No, it was just me and my friend. There was just two of us there that night.
Just two of you? Okay.
Because obviously you're not supposed to go looking for these learning as well in the paranormal field. The rule is always take somebody with you so you can collaborate. And if you hear something, then they're more than likely going to hear it. And I generally use that rule of thumb when it comes to cryptids as well. Because it's all well and good you going down to the woods on your own going, well, I've got a growl. Well, have you got anybody who can back you up on that? That's generally the first question I ask somebody. Was there anybody else there? Mm-hmm. And can they back you up on what you're stating happened?
Jamie, real quick, I wanted to ask you, when you had your first encounter, what year did it happen in?
Oh, bloody hell. That's a good question, actually. I was born 91. I was 19. 2010? Yeah, it was 2010. And it was
okay. Time. Mm-hmm. Interesting, okay.
And ever since launching my YouTube channel, I've done a lot of digging into the Dogman phenomenon, and it's surprising what has popped up. Which leads me to the point of what's going on around Hull. I think there's a clan of them. Because like Todd was saying, they're usually territorial creatures and they find packs of them. And I mentioned this to my friend Colin Keatley, who you've had on the show. And generally, where you find one Dogman, you're going to find more. And I personally believe whatever it is on Barneston Journey gets you Dogman. Because people are reporting seeing like a wolf-like creature with amber eyes. So, to me, straight away, they're talking about type 3 Dogman. And then further up, you've got Dane's Dyke, where these things are being spotted. I don't know too much about that one. I haven't been up there, so I've looked into that. And then a bit further on from Dane's Dyke, which is Bridlington area, you've got Flixton, which is between Bridlington and Scarborough. And there's also a Dogman or a werewolf, if you like, around that area. So if you look where Hull is, out towards the Pennines. Yeah, we're here.
I'm having Wi-Fi issues right now. I apologize.
Yeah, we're here, Shane. So Jamie, give us a sense of, you're in England. Give us a sense. It's a southeastern.
Northeast. No, this is all northeast. So you've got Scotland up the top.
Yeah.
Then you've got.
So you've got the border.
You've got a border. Then you've got Northumberland, which runs down to Middlesbrough area. And then between Middlesbrough and the River Humber is Yorkshire. Okay. Well, that's it. North into East Yorkshire, which is roughly where all this is happening. So within East Yorkshire, you've got Hull, where you've got the Beast of Barneston drain, and the one that I saw, which I think, through what I've been digging into and digging through newspaper reports, etc., is the Dogman from Reed Island. That's what I personally believe the one I saw was. Then you've got Dane's Dyke, which is North Yorkshire, because it's between Bridlington and Scarborough. You've got the Flixton werewolf, which is roughly the same area. So you're looking north in East Yorkshire. And this is all on the northeast coast of England.
Okay. So how many other sightings and encounters are you aware of in that northeastern section of England?
That I'm aware of, through talking to people, you've got Reed Island, and I haven't even got onto the one in Lincolnshire. I didn't encounter it, but I talked to the paranormal team that, well, I don't know if it is Dogman or what it was, but potentially it could have been, but I'll go into that. So northeast England, you've got Beast of Barneston drain, you've got Reed Island. Apparently there's a clan of them living at Dane's Dyke. I'm not too sure on that one. So there's at least 3. The Flixton werewolf has been spotted for years. There's 4. I'll say there's at least 4.
Yeah. So the sightings are somewhat sporadic up in that. What, to your knowledge, what about the rest of England? And as you start to spread further towards the west and the south, are there sightings that have been reported there as well?
Yes, there is, funnily enough. There's one in Lincolnshire, which is just over the River Humber. You've got Humberside Airport, which is near Grimsby. I'm not sure if this one was a Dogman or not. There was a paranormal team coming home towards Grimsby from Humberside Airport one night. This was back in 2016, I think it was. And all they saw was like 7-foot shadow, leg it across the road. So obviously, they came back the next day. And whatever it was that ran across the road that night, went from the airport side over towards the farm. Now, normally, if you run through a bush, it springs back up. This thing was big enough to flatten the bush so you could see where it had gone through. So I would lean towards it being some sort of cryptid creature due to the fact it was heading towards a reservoir. It was heading towards shelter. Farms generally known for having cattle, so you got a food source. That's one thing I always look at when it comes to cryptids is the three main principles of shelter, water, and food.
Sure.
If you can find all three of them in that one spot, you're looking at some sort of cryptid, and then it's just going around and trying to figure out what people are seeing. So that's
So
really
the other-
interesting.
Uh-huh.
They've been seen down in Reading, which is south. So I was talking to a guy called Werewolf Mike who lives down that area. And obviously these have been seen over the years, so as much as I'm saying there's 4 sightings, there could be more than that throughout the years. And then Cannock Chase, which is Lancashire, I believe it is. That's known, yeah, it is because that's Manchester. So they're all over. There's reports coming in from all over the UK.
Yeah, we were talking to Colin Kelty there last week, and which you're aware of, and I was interested, in his map, his pin map that he's got posted, which I thought was pretty interesting, and I wanted to get your take on on sightings as well versus what you know, and you've probably spoken with him of what he has on that pin map there, with his map with all of the pins in there and stuff. And it sounds like the UK is really starting to see much more of these creatures now. With
yeah, I just don't understand how they've got here. Because if we go back to where they come from, the history surrounding them, I've done a lot of digging. They're very much a Native American folklore, whether that be skinwalkers, dogmen, or Bigfoot. I do think they're all different types of creatures, especially when you're looking at the wolf-like ones like skinwalkers and dogmen. I think they're 2 separate creatures entirely. But according to Native American folklore, these things guard Native American burial sites. That's what their sole purpose was for. But if you dig even further back, because they even pop up in the Bible, they pop up in all different mythologies throughout the years, like the Greeks, the Romans, Egypt, Anubis was a dogman. So they've been here a lot longer than what people realise. I personally believe that they're the native creatures of this planet. Because I'm a big believer in the Anunnaki theory of how the human race became. And obviously with Charles Darwin's theory of evolution, if you look at a photo of it, there's a missing link. According to Charles Darwin, we came from bacteria all the way up to human. How can we, when you look at the images he's drawing, there is a link missing between where the ape starts to stand upright and becomes bolt right straight. Personally, I think the Anunnaki were messing about with Bigfoot and their own gene seed, and that's how they created the human race.
Yeah.
And as well, and especially with upright walking canines, I think dogmen and Bigfoot will both be first. This was their planet, and the Anunnaki came along and realised, well, they're going to be no good for mining the stuff we want out of this planet.
So what's your thought? So what's your thoughts? We've got researchers here in the States that have got data showing a lot of encounters and sightings, and of course encounters and sightings are different from one another, but a lot of those have shown UFO, UAP activity prior to the Dogman being sighted. What's your thoughts on that?
My thoughts on that? Well, it's like, I don't know if you know Richard Freeman. He's a very well-known cryptozoologist over in the UK. He usually says there's 2 types of beings out there. You've got your flesh and blood ones, and then you've got your paranormal ones. So when we're talking about the UFO side of it, I do believe there is flesh and blood dogmen, which were originally on this planet to begin with.
Mhm.
And then you've got your paranormal ones, which are your interdimensional jumping ones. Going to what Todd was saying about orbs and UFOs being seen before them, that links very much with how a skinwalker would behave, that a UFO would show up first, open up a portal, and these things will come walking out of it. But I do believe the US government has been playing with the gene seeds on these things and creating more of them. But it's all been hushed up.
Yeah, there's been a lot of talk about that.
I don't
There's a
think
lot of
it's
talk about government connections with Dogman.
all the governments on this planet know of these creatures. Because I've also
agree.
spoken to Dark Horses as well, and he's under the very much same principle I am, that the governments of the world know about them. And that there's...
Jamie, what's your thoughts on? Oh, sorry, I have a 3-second delay at least. I apologize.
That's fine.
My Wi-Fi's acting up. I was going to ask you real quick. What's your belief on government, modifications on these things? Do you think they're
I think that's
created
happening.
or?
Well, I think yes and no. Because for them to be created, I think they do need some sort of gene sequel to be working from. So personally, I think there is two types of dogmen out there. There's the ones that will attack you, just go for you. That's the one the government have been playing with. That's the ones that they've created. You've got the more docile ones, which will rather scare you off their land. They're the native. I don't know if you heard what me and Ted were talking about with these creatures being here before the humans. I believe that the more docile ones are the native creatures of this planet, same with Bigfoot. I don't think the government have been playing with Bigfoot. I think they've been playing more with the dogmen, because, like in the film Dog Soldiers, I don't know if you've ever seen that one.
Yep, really good movie.
They're trying to create super troops. And apparently, because Jeff Donnelly, I think he had a guy called Victor on, who was saying that they were creating dogmen to send to Afghanistan. So I do believe, yes, the government, especially in America, have been playing about with them to create super soldiers to fight the wars. And I do think that's happening. And then obviously, when they're creating them, there's some that they can't control and they're just releasing them back out into the wild. And I think personally, the ones that where you're getting reports of people being attacked, that's what's doing it. Whereas the ones that are here first would rather scare you off and attack you as a last resort. Because we all know that a dogman will happily eat a human without a shadow of a doubt. But the more native ones prefer to play narcissistic games with people. I'll just scare you because I can, and I know you're going to be scared of me. And usually that's enough to get people running.
Yeah, that's one thing that we've heard a lot of here in the States, is they definitely like to intimidate you and scare you and have fun with you, it almost seems like. And yeah, that's we've had those reports quite a bit here in the States as well.
Yeah, and that's where I wonder, what's your thoughts on the Canine Variant 4s, Jamie? Do you think that you think that maybe the Variant 3s were genetically modified, and that's where you get the overlarge heads and just the Arnold Schwarzenegger-like body and just
it's highly possible.
Dogman?
It is highly possible. It's hard to say for sure, because I think there's roughly about 9 different variants out there that we know of. You've got coyote types, you've got hyena types, you've got the canine types. I did put a photo on my YouTube channel, and I'm sure there's about 9 different variants, and I think the government have been playing around with different gene seeds that they've got hold of to create different variants for these creatures. But they all are roughly coming from the wolf. And that's again, talking about it from a UK perspective. Over in America, I do think some of them that you're getting a misidentification due to the fact you have wolves and coyotes over there. Over here, we have none of that. We don't have any bears. Wolves have been extinct since the 1500s over here.
Yeah.
So as soon as people come in vogue and saying, "Well, I saw a wolf-like creature," it's like, what? you shouldn't be seeing that sort of stuff over here.
Yeah.
So immediately you go straight down the cryptid route because you've already cut out half the misidentification. Whereas in America, I think you have to be a bit more stringent with it due to the fact you've got wolves, coyotes, and bears out in the wild. And especially with the grizzly and the brown bear, they have a habit of sitting upright, and is it a case sometimes that's what people are seeing?
Oh yeah, no question about it. And I think sometimes people, they see, not only a bear and misidentify it, but they also, if they see a Sasquatch, they've never heard a Dogman. They see a Sasquatch and, they think, well, it could have been a Dogman, but not familiar with it. So they just clump it into the Sasquatch category. So there's a lot of misidentification going on there as well.
Definitely.
I think.
Definitely, there's a lot of misidentification going on.
Yep.
But I think, again, that depends whereabouts in the wild you are. Because in some places you can narrow it down straight away when you go, you don't have them sort of creatures, and then when you get any reports, especially, use the UK as a good example, when we're getting reports of wolf-like creatures being spotted, well, that rings the alarm bell straight away because we shouldn't be getting any, because we don't have any wolves. And bears are not native to Europe. They're more in the Americas.
Right.
So then it begs the question of how did these creatures get here in the first place? How did they manage to get to the UK? Whereas, I don't know if you're aware, the UK is surrounded by water. Well, how are they getting here? How did they get here in the first place?
Yeah, you guys are waterlocked.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on that, Jamie?
My
You
thoughts.
think they're fallen Nephilim?
No. I don't see it.
I tried to keep an open mind to it, but I mean, I don't.
I keep an
just
open
archive
mind,
it. I don't
but
disprove anything or discredit anything. Just archive.
no, I don't think the Nephilim, for the simple fact of what I believe of how the human race was created. So, I personally believe they were here first, so I don't think they're Nephilim. I do think they do have a paranormal aspect to them, and we can't rule out the interdimensional side of it. I just think the general flesh and blood creatures that were here first. And how they got to the UK, I think they came over in the Ice Age, when everywhere was ice locked, and they just drifted into different continents, set up camp, the ice melted, and they got stuck. And then they just couldn't, because that's the thing which leads me more to the flesh and blood side of it. So everybody I've talked to, everybody believes that these creatures have like 150-year lifespan, roughly. So obviously they're breeding, and there is reports out there of Dogman Pulp. We've got reports of that over here in the UK. Granted, yes, mainly more down south than up north. So obviously they've come over here at some point in time and just settled. And then obviously being flesh and blood, that's how they're keeping their population. But they're staying away from human areas, and this goes back to when I first started researching as well. They like to avoid humans more than anything. Because we're building more into the countryside, that's why I think we're getting more reports now than we ever did before. Because we're encroaching onto their territory. So they're like, all right then, well, we're not moving, we'll just live in your city. We'll hide away so you don't see us, but we're just going to be there and you will see us when we want you to see us. And that's where we're getting spikes in reports.
Well, what's your feeling? What's your feeling on a lot of people? And I've said it on numerous different shows. Is people go, well, how do I go find one of these things? And we always kind of say, well, you're not going to find it. It will find you if that's the case.
I quite agree, because first time I met Colin Keeley, I went to show him when I had my encounter, which, funnily enough, was about 500 metres away from where he got a goal on Bramston Drain. So I thought, right, we'll do a little bit of an investigation and see if there's anything there. yeah, it possibly could have been there, but it obviously didn't want to show itself out there. And I do agree with him and Dark Waters, who I've spoken to personally, and they're both under the same impression. If a Dogman wants you to see it, it will show itself to you.
Right. Yep. That's my feeling as well. You're not going to go in there. I mean, there's always a chance that it could happen, but I think that the chances of that are more slim with you finding it than it finding you. You know. So
I do agree with the theory that Dark Horses came out with, that these are great distraction points in people's lives. That, say, for instance, you was like going to be a priest and you was going to be very good at it, then these things would be sent to distract you off that path to go and research them. And then in the end, you just leave it be because they start to play with you on a psychological level. And through every report I've looked into, people are being left mentally scarred with it.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we've seen that a lot where you encounter one of these things and you're gonna possibly walk away with some PTSD down the road because it's been such a terrifying, because these things aren't supposed to exist, and you
Well,
run in.
that's the thing. According to, but this goes to the programming of the human race. Going into Hollywood, etc., we're told, oh, these things, they're just myths, they're legends, they're not real. They're just for your entertainment to scare the crap out of you. All right, okay then. And then, like you say, people are seeing them, and the first thing they're coming out with, that's a werewolf. Because I don't think there's a generation alive today that predates Hollywood. So automatically, the human brain's thinking, I've seen a werewolf. No, you haven't. You've seen a Dogman, or whatever it was called pre-Hollywood. And that's the thing, it's all to do with the programming of humans. And Hollywood has a major influence in it.
Oh, yeah.
And
definitely seeing one of these things is terrifying, that's for sure.
It is, definitely.
We interviewed a gentleman a couple weeks ago named Leroy, and his best friend saw one of these things and 3 months later committed suicide. So, I mean, bless his heart, and bless his family, condolences. But,
definitely.
I mean, yeah, like Todd was saying, PTSD for sure.
Well, it does. But I do think there is a big paranormal aspect to them as well, because I'm also a parapsychologist as well, and usually with a paranormal experience, you can remember it for years down the line as though it happened yesterday. Mm-hmm. And what I'm finding with Dogmen and Bigfoot is those that have actually encountered these creatures can remember exactly what happened to the exact amount of detail as if that incident happened to them the day before, even if it's like 10 years previous. Mm-hmm. And it's like with the experience I had, I can still see it as though it happened yesterday.
Jamie, what's your thoughts on this? Todd, what do you guys think of this? UK and USA have different types of dogman and werewolf. Dogman UK man said this. What do you think? Do you think there's... I was listening to Josh Turner's show last night, and he said there's not 7 different variants. There's probably 30 or 40. I bet it's just what people are reporting, seeing, to classify.
It could well be. Mm-hmm. But in terms of werewolf, I'll get to that in a minute. Possibly could be different types of dogmen, and I think there's more types over in America than there is in the UK. Mm-hmm. Personally, I think when it comes to the UK side of it, it's type 3. Because nearly every report I've read, there was no Hollywood involved when I met with my encounter with Howdy West TV. Fair enough. But going back to what I was saying, I think we've got type 3 over here because every report is blue or amber eyes. And that is generally associated with type 3s. And especially with the upright canine head is more type 3 than anything, whereas in America, you've got coyotes, hyenas, types, etc.
Yes. I know. I was listening to Johnny Elliott. I mean, not to give away his encounter, but his had more of the chow-like face. And that, to me, it's more, if you look at the variant list of the 7 different Dogman. I mean, the Chow to me have more the hominid leg structure. To me, I don't know if they're misidentified Gugway sightings, but I mean, they really fit that description. But the Chow's face to me are more like maybe look more like a werewolf than your actual Dogman that have the long protruding snout. So, I mean, what did he actually see? I mean, he's shown what it looks like. It looks like the werewolf from The Howling, but what variant is that? Is that an actual variant, or is it just?
I'm not sure. Because
Yeah,
I do think there's more stuff out in the woods than just cryptids.
exactly.
And there's a lot of stuff out there we should not be messing about with.
I agree.
But as I do think there is elementals, I do believe demons are real, and I think they're out in the woods. And then over in America, you've got Wendigos, you've got skinwalkers. That's just to name a couple that come off the top of my head.
Mm-hmm.
Over here, we've got fairies, we've got leprechauns, we've got banshees. So there is a lot of stuff out in the woods that we're seeing that we should be leaving well alone. And it's all well and good going and looking for Dogman. Like Todd said, you're only going to see it if the Dogman wants to tell you itself. And is it a case we should just leave them alone and just go have it? And if we do see them, then document it. And then we can roughly start to see a picture of, well, their behaviour pattern is like this. Because it's all well and good as going out on the ground to try and capture evidence, but we're not going to be able to unless the Dogman wants us to do it.
Right.
Because it's all on their terms rather than being on our terms.
Jamie, is that what you're doing with Dogman or Expedition Dogman? Are you tracking down every single case that's coming out of the UK and putting it out there? I noticed. I was looking at your channel the other day, and I've noticed you've got a list of videos and describing the Dogman. And I just didn't know, are you actually listing each one like what Colin was doing, like pinpointing them?
No, basically, to start off my channel, originally we was going to go out more into the field, but my friend, he don't drive no more, so getting out and about is harder these days. So I thought, right, I'll start off going down the research side of it, looking at the reports coming in. And like we all know, it's all theory based, so I started to go into the behaviours, the traits, and really boil it down to where these things are coming from and the different theories. Currently, at the minute, we're looking into like the major cases of America. So we've covered the LBL. We've covered Pennsylvania, I think it was. There was a major case. Because obviously people have been coming to me with the stories, then obviously you've got the ones on the internet which correlate with exactly what they're saying. We've still got Grey Road to cover in Michigan. But
interesting.
Going on to the line between
what's your viewpoint on the LBL? Do you think the family was actually massacred?
Yes.
The family of four?
Okay.
Or do you believe that it's
That's
just
an interesting
material?
one. No, I do think it happened. I think the Roger incident, that's bullshit. Because through digging into the LBL, and I managed to find a story which was directly from the gas attendant's point of view when the police officers went to see her. They mentioned to the gas attendant 4 people, not 5. The father, the son, the mother, the daughter. There was no mention of Roger. Whereas when Roger came out, he turned around and went, I was with that family, blah, blah, blah happened. Well, I'm sorry, even if the police were shell shots like it states in the incident file, they would have mentioned there was a kid hiding under the RV. He would have been found. Even if the government had told them to shut up, they would have ended up spilling it. Human nature, isn't it? They would have told. So I personally don't believe that Roger was there. I think, as harsh as it is, he researched the story and fitted himself in just to get 15 minutes of fame.
I agree. I think so too. I mean, everyone has their viewpoint. You're going to have Team Roger and Team.
You
I wasn't there, so but I've heard both sides. I mean, it tells a really good story. I mean, I think that it totally throws a wrench
contradictions as well from what he's saying to what the original report said. And so I do think it was Dogman that attacked for the fact that she was wearing cologne, and I do believe the land between the lakes is a breeding ground. and also by the American government ascending the rogue dogman that they created. But I think due to the cologne that the female mother was wearing is what dragged them in the first place. And there's a lot more stories in the LBL than just what happens to them. And these things are attracted to cologne,
definitely,
to fire. Well, you look at the main massacre, you got two of the main elements there. You got fire and the cologne. That's what dragged them in. So I do believe it did happen, and I believe the government are covering it up. Because I know within America, the national parks are one of the main sources of income. They're not going to want it coming out. Oh, yeah, you've got terrifying cryptids that will kill you if you go to the national parks. People won't go if they found out, which then would have a massive detrimental effect on the American economy. So they'll hush it up when it happens, and it goes into the missing 411 as well.
Yeah,
I do think that's...
Yeah, I was just going to mention that 411 files, with Dave Politis. The U.S. government.
And about people doing this in national parks.
Yeah,
I think it's all interlinked.
Yeah, they definitely do not want to let any of that information out, especially the missing persons in the national parks, because it scare people and people aren't going to go. And a lot of revenue is going to go south. So yeah, it's a good possibility.
And over here as well, they're starting to hush it up more. Because Johnny Elliott as well, he said to me, look, when people are getting attacked, the police are just putting it down to a dog attack.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, we have that problem here as well. We've had a lot of so-called dog attacks, and it still goes.
I bet most of them are actually dogmen.
It still goes on unknown animal attacks. Boy or a woman, and no information comes out about it. It's just covered up, and nobody talks about it after, and the person is just gone, and that's the last you hear of it.
And then over here as well. And then over here as well, I do think the UK government know about them. Because there's certain paths in our national parks and forests where they tell us not to go down, but they don't give you a reason why. They just go, no access to this route. And you're thinking, but why? You're in a forest. Why can't we go down there? Because it was Werewolf Mike who mentioned it to me about it. And he was like, they're telling you not to go down that path because the government know that you've got a dog man living down there. And livestock always blame pet dog.
Yeah, so.
But I think as well in America you'll have that same issue where they're telling you not to go to certain regions, but not giving you a reason why.
Oh yeah, like the most recent one we have here in the U.S. happened in Missouri. What, Todd, was it was it in February or March? The Amazon driver in Missouri that was attacked, or I think it might have been late last year, but covered it up with dog attack. And then same with the Brenda Hamilton case. I mean, she was attacked. All they say it was a wild dog. I really hard to believe when they don't do their full-on autopsies. They just cover it up. So
it's interesting because Shane, a lot of those cases, that the woman in South Carolina, that was the teacher was attacked supposedly by a pack of wild dogs. And you read, they let the report out, and then you try to follow up on it, a week or two or three later, and there's no real autopsy reports. There's nothing that comes out about it, and it just it gets kind of swept under the carpet. So you don't really know what happened.
Yep.
If it's a pack of wild dogs, let everybody know about it so they could be aware of it, and animal control can do something about it and go find these things. But
I agree.
Well, look at, I think it was earlier this year. It was all over YouTube about the guy who spotted that giant creature on top of the cliff, and he went further down the road, and the CIA were there and told him to turn back because I don't know if it was Dogman Bigfoot or what it was, but this helicopter then came in and took whatever it was away, and they covered it up and told him not to go back to that area again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I heard about that, and then he did a confessional video. I think it was 2 months later, and he said that, hey, that was just fake, and then all of a sudden he went off air.
Because he was told that it was to say it was fake.
Yeah.
Especially
And
with seeing the CIA out there.
CIA took him out.
That's it. And I was listening to a report on Dogman Encounters last year about 2 people that were in the woods.
Mm-hmm.
They saw a dogman, so they started taking photos of it. The CIA hacked into their phone and deleted all the photos.
Wow.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're obviously covering something up. So
Yeah.
they don't want the mass hysteria, so that's why they do it, because it'll affect the business with the national parks.
Well, that's it. And then when it comes to
millions of dollars a
disclosures,
year.
there's usually some sort of major catastrophe going on in the world. It's like, well, the UFO disclosure they did a couple of years back was right in the middle of COVID. So you had the world all fixated on COVID, and they thought, right, we'll now tell you that UFOs are real.
Yep.
Which now people still don't believe it because they were too busy fixated on COVID to realise what was getting released. And I think when they do tell people about cryptids, there'll be some sort of world event going on at the same time.
Take the focus and put it someplace else.
Yeah.
Yep. That's what the media is good at doing.
It is. And then it's only those of us that don't believe the media then pay attention to what's coming out from government sources. But it's like that author said, can you actually believe them, what the government's coming out with? Because they're known for being the sorriest liars themselves.
Well, they've been doing it with, like you say, they've been doing it with the UFO phenomenon since 1947. So, whatever the government, can't control, they're not going to admit that it exists because, hey, you can't control it. You don't know what it is, and it's something that they're not going to admit because, hey, can't do anything about it. So why admit it?
Yeah. And
but the question remains, when it comes to cryptids, they can control it because they know that. I mean, if they've been messing about with the gene seeds of, say, dogmen, does that give them then more leeway to disclose it eventually?
Well, like Todd was saying, it took 70 years for the government, and now you get on the news and there's a UFO sighting almost every other day, and then they release all these redacted reports. I mean, yeah, you can kind of pick a little bit of pieces about it, but I mean, for them to start introducing it 70 years later, I mean, just to find out what the Dogman, I can think hopefully the next 20 years we'll be getting some type of, evidence that they're admitting just something in the woods. I mean, or are these things interdimensional? Who knows? That they slowly started doing it with Bigfoot in the 90s, early 2000s. So with redacted reports when they did their investigation in the 70s, but still we're talking 50 years ago.
Exactly.
So Jamie, hey, we got to thank you for coming up. We're on the hour mark here.
Okay.
Time goes by fast when you're talking the subject, but if you have anything else to add, and where can people find you, and give us a little bit.
Well, I'm on YouTube. Look up Expedition Dogman and look for the profile with the werewolf with the yellow eyes. That's where you can find me. I'm currently working on projects, so it might say that my last upload was like nearly 90 days ago because I'm still collating evidence to put on. So I'm looking at the migration patterns of the Dogman at the minute. So I'm working on getting that one put together. But there's over 50 videos on there. Some of them are interviews, a couple of live action ones where we've gone out looking for them, and the rest are all theories. But yeah, that's where to find me on YouTube.
Yeah, JB, and as soon as you release that video, we'd love for you to share it on West Coast and all of our other pages, whether it's United Kingdom Dogman Encounters or North American Dogman Project. You have free reign to share them on all across the platform, so we can get not just you out there, but your research out there. Because I admire, I listen to every single one of your episodes when you post them, so you do really good content, and keep up the great work, brother.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming on. And if we do a part 2 in the UK, which we might be doing later on in the year, love to have you back and
definitely
and have you tell us about your research out in the field and what you found.
Yeah, I will do.
Okay.
Yeah, keep us informed on what's happening as well.
I will do, definitely. I'll keep reading to the ground. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you have a good one, brother. Thanks.
Yeah, you too. Thank you. Bye.
Take care.
Well, that was a good one. I loved it, man. Awesome part 2 of the UK with Jamie. What do you think, Todd?
Absolutely. You know, it's to be able to talk with these folks that are across the pond and find out what's happening over there in their neck of the woods, or neck of the lack of woods, I guess is.
Right, I was gonna
you know, they don't have much woods over there in England, but it's good to have these folks on. Thanks, Shane, for thinking about doing this with these guys. And you know, I know we've got a part 3 that could be coming up soon. I don't know if you want to talk that.
So we're kind of right now wanting to do the part 3. We were going to do part 3 and 4, but one of the individuals, we have to wait till the end of the month. And I think we were going to try to have Johnny Elliott come on next Saturday or Sunday, whenever he's really available. I think the best time to work with the UK series is on the weekends, because they're 8 hours ahead of us out here on the West Coast. So that's why we've been having to do it on Saturdays and Sundays, different from our normal Saturday or Thursday times. But yeah, we'll definitely try to get Johnny on. Or I'm really interested in wanting to hear Dogman UK Man. Dogman UK Man, if you can find us on Facebook, go to the group, and then if you can message Todd and I, if we can try to get you on, and heck, even if we have to do a part 5 and 6, we'll do 2 interviews a week just to get more out on the UK if we can. I'd love to, bring more knowledge to the UK side of things than not have. Everyone knows about the US and the Dogman, but what about the one around the world? And the UK's goes unnoticed. So if message us if you can, reach out if you'd like to. You can go on screen or you can go off screen if you want to do the interview, or we can do a pre-recording. So we have that option as well. But if not, you can just share your encounter on our Facebook pages. And you guys can reach out to us at West Coast Dogman Project, United States Dogman Federation, North American Dogman Project Region 1 and Washington State Chapter. And what other pages do we have? Too many.
They're endless when it comes to this stuff. But there's plenty of places, plenty of platforms that we have that people can reach out to us and tell their encounters. Reach out to us personally, either Shane or myself, and we'll have you on, and you'll have an opportunity to have a place to talk about your encounter, discuss it. We'll ask you questions, and the more information we can gather, the more data we can gather. We've said it 1,000 times. The closer we'll be to figuring out what this phenomenon is. Like our tagline says, the truth is out there, the answer is out there. We just got to keep digging for it, like fellas like we just had on, with Jamie Atkinson and Colin Kelty in the UK. That are boots on the ground. They get out there. They're talking to people. They're looking for stuff. They're looking for evidence. And hey, it's all good. And we'll give everybody the opportunity to come on and talk about it.
Exactly. And also another thing I wanted to throw in there before we jumped off, we're ridicule free. So whether if it's so strange out there or so left field, we don't judge. We just, every encounter is different. There's never 2 encounters that are identical. So that's another thing, is we're ridicule free. We sit and listen. So I definitely wanted to throw that out there before. So we'll see you guys on the next episode. Hopefully it'll be sometime next week, and we'll keep you posted on our Facebook pages. And you guys, everyone that was in the chat, thank you for watching and joining us and in an active chat. We really do appreciate that. And sorry if you guys had questions that we tried to answer them. We do really only run our show about an hour or so long. So if we missed a question, reach out to Jamie on our Facebook page. I'll definitely post up the video after. So if you want to ask comments, you can tag them on there and then go from there. Okay. Thanks again, everyone, for watching. We'll catch you on the next one.
Sounds good. Take care.
West Coast.